right, D Rizzo once again, y'all. We talking about airplay and how to get airplay as artists here. I'm gonna introduce the fellas. Go ahead. HC.
How you doing? I am Hareston Clay, singer, vocalist, songwriter.
Oh, you said more this time. You got
Yeah,
paid.
but
Yeah,
nah,
you got paid.
what happened to producer?
He didn't do all that.
Yeah, you know.
Bricklayer.
Right.
All right.
Ladies
Take
man.
17.
Right.
Smooth vocalist
Right.
and shit. Talking about inside and all that
hey,
shit.
Hey, Clay, don't let us guilt you, man.
Yeah, no, you ain't. I mean,
Do
just,
you,
just
man.
don't even say nothing, man. We can take the mic away. Just
Man, this all right. Don't worry. I'm here with you.
Oh,
man.
all right.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna bypass. Let the young fellow over there, man, talk that trash. Who?
I'm Howard Rookard. They dragged me in from out of the streets.
There's always a cat want to do some. All right, Howard Rookard is not to be confused with this guy right here.
Who's that, me?
That'll be you.
I'm David Rookard, piano player, producer. What else can I say, Clay? That's all right.
Amazon carrier, didn't you? Wasn't that what you did last time?
Don't plug Amazon, man.
Yeah,
Please don't do
Oh,
that.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
FedEx carrier. How's that? Shit.
The Uber driver.
No. Hood are us.
I used to do Uber, though.
I did, too.
Did you? Yeah, shoot. I'm a musician. There's a lot of jobs we have to do. I don't have no Grammys.
We ain't got no Grammys.
None.
None. All right. All right, fellas. Let's see what we talking about. We're gonna start. What's the topic here today? What we doing here?
Well, I asked you, kind of in passing, man, how you start a radio
Okay.
station,
Okay.
and more specifically because I was looking to hire a radio promoter, and I would like to know some of the rules and regulations and what goes on in order for a person to be able to get a piece of music played on the radio.
And when you're saying the radio, you're talking, for lack of a better
I'm talking
term,
about
terrestrial.
streaming.
Yeah.
I'm talking about when you get in your car and you turn on Sirius or WZIP or whatever the case may be. How do you get your music on there without coming off of an ungodly amount of money?
So I can advise as to the streaming portion with regards to the terrestrial radio station, so to speak. I have minimal input on that because I know you've really got to get to the program managers. I know you've really got to be able to have a product. And I almost want to say for the independent guys, to get on the major radio stations, you got to have a piece of money. You got to have a piece of money. It's they used the term back in the day, payola, and you got to have a piece of money. Anybody got any thoughts on that? I can speak to the internet piece because we did have one at one point, but with regards to promotions, you got to have somebody connected. You got to have somebody that has some insight, and you got to have a connect. Howard, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, they had did a CD back in when was that? When you guys did that CD?
Oh, man.
If
It's been a while. It's in the 90s.
He was in another group.
97, 98.
Okay.
He was in another
there.
group, and I had taken his CDs down to down south, Atlanta, Alabama, and canvassed the radio stations down there. And I did get his stuff played without actually paying any money. They did air his music, and it was actually it was actually David. He was actually they actually really liked it, But now to do that on a regular basis, to get on a regular rotation. Now that I've never been able to accomplish, but I know that they played it at least 3 or 4 times during the 4 or 5 days that I was down there, which was pretty good. They had actually got them booked for some tours that they didn't show up for. But you know,
Well, damn.
I was,
That's just how it is.
sometimes. You need young cats when you're talking about traveling. You know, you need young cats.
which is a conversation me and you got into.
Yeah.
You know, because instead of, I'm not even that convinced that the radio stations would be a way to go for music right about now.
It is.
He thinks it is, but I can't remember. I'd like to poll the people that actually have a radio and use it if they're not in the car more than 15 minutes.
And that's a good point. But keep in mind, you got to think about who is being played.
Right.
See, and who's being played are all the top artists, all of them.
Back
If you're a
to the-
top artist,
You done
they're
paid.
on the radio.
You done paid to get there.
They're
Yeah,
on the radio.
but if you listen to the music that they're playing, I haven't heard no new music on the radio. And I listen to I've got a regular. I got regularly listen.
Wait, stop,
Well, you,
stop.
I can get you hooked up on some new music.
Stop. You telling me you haven't heard new music?
Not on the radio.
I hear new music every day.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a lot, man. They're putting out
Wait,
content.
Are you talking about rap music now?
I'm talking about R&B music, rap music, neo soul, jazz.
And see,
I haven't
you know,
heard-
satellite radio. That's
I listen to satellite radio regularly every day
Well, you-
for
How-
an hour or two a day.
Well,
'Cause I'm in the-
that
I'm in the-
hour you're catching the same stuff because I hear that's how I grab new music.
Well, see, I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything.
You hear this?
There's a ton of new. It
I have
comes out
not
all the
heard
time.
anything that was played other
But now,
than
what you haven't heard on there is there's not a broad spectrum of new artists on there. I mean, it's dominated by maybe 12.
7, 12, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
12.
7 or 8.
artists,
Well, you got
something like that. They're getting all of the real significant airtime.
Well, back to this because you messing me up for a second. You saying you don't hear new music, but you listen to satellite radio. What stations are you listening to? Are you listening to Heart and Soul?
I haven't really. I'm not really into Heart and Soul that tough.
What are you listening to?
I've been listening to Watercolors because I'm.
Oh, that's
basically-
jazz.
Yeah, I'm basically a jazz.
But you should still be hearing. I hear new artists on jazz.
I'm gonna tell you, this is because I'll look them up. All of the music that I've basically listened to and heard, with very few exceptions, they were put out between 90 and 2010.
So you're clearly listening to a DJ that has a certain segment that he's playing.
Yeah, this is man.
That's what that got to be.
That could be.
That's
Listen,
all that could be.
I'm in that car, and my brother will tell you, I'm in that car at least 2 hours, twice a day, different times, and this is every day. So I'm getting a good, I'm getting a good cross section of what they play on that satellite radio.
Maybe Watercolors I can't see them not bringing new artists out though.
A Watercolors is one of my favorites. I like the
I
real
love-
jazz
yeah.
station.
I
But
like the
you
real
have
jazz.
some R&B. I think it's called the Flow. There's a couple
Yeah, that's
others they're not jazz. They're
R&B,
they're
right? Yeah.
Well,
Well, popular music.
It's more hip hop. It's hip hop-ish, but there's some R&B stuff.
The Heat, this
But
one.
there's there's quite a bit of new music coming out, but there's a segment of artists that are dominating airplay.
I would agree with that. I'd stop listening to the radio for that reason. Just personally, because for one, it's on. I can hear the same song every hour on the
Oh,
hour,
absolutely.
and that's boring. And then for new artists, and that was one of the issues I know in Phoenix was a problem, because there were people who I didn't know personally, but knew in the main radio hubs out there, and there was a smaller market, which didn't have a lot of bandwidth, but it was a FM station that they played new music. But a lot of the main ones, and that was their biggest gripe for independent artists and local artists. Local artists were complaining because they weren't breaking local artists in in an area in the city where there was a ton of local artists. There was a ton of local, and it was more hip hop oriented. It wasn't really an R&B. It was more hip hop focused rap music.
Right.
So there was a lot of rap artists who were really good, whose records weren't getting broke because they were like, well, we're not getting airplay. We're not, what do we have to do? And if it was airplay, it was either late at night when nobody's really listening,
Right.
so you would get that section, or first thing in the morning when nobody's really awake. But those prime hours, unless you were top 40 or had big bank account behind you, and usually it was just whatever the hot artist was, like to Rooker's point, whatever the hot artists were, that's who they were playing. So you might hear Beyonce and her song that's in rotation, but then you would hear Beyonce's new song. That's the new music that you would hear. Or, trying to think of mainstream artists. Like there was a point where there was new R&B and neo soul coming out, and it wasn't getting any play on any of the radio stations. So there was like from a period when I was out there, and this is just Phoenix. I'm not sure if this was indicative of over here in Akron. There was main artists who weren't like, there was a Maxwell album, there was a Music Soul Child album, there was India Irie. There's different artists who were dropping new music, and you're like, well, when did that come out? You weren't hearing it on the radio. You'd have to hear it either
The clubs.
at the club, somebody else was playing it, or they were just a fan and say, oh, they dropped new music. And social media, I think to a certain extent, where new music is coming out, it's more not relevant, but it's more readily played, or you have more exposure, especially with the new streaming and the new licensing that they have, sync licensing, where young independent artists are getting, you're hearing new music on stories. You'll hear it on TikTok stories or different stories. Well, that's like a 10-second to 30-second clip.
Right.
So now you're drawn to, well, whose artist is this? And then you go and you press the three dots or whatever, and you're finding who the new artist is. But as far as, local radio stations, I personally, because I just, for that reason, I stopped listening. I don't want to hear the same song over and over and over.
Right.
And that was one of the points that we were talking about, man. You know what?
Right.
When original music, because Akron is fantastically talented.
True.
These guys, some of these guys, man, that I have heard through my brother, because he's very active in the music field, and most of these guys love playing with him. I have heard some really, really outstanding, just great music that these guys have produced that never get off the table, and the reason that it doesn't happen is because, if you're not performing the music live, you get no ears, and if there's no radio stations that are readily available to you, you get no ears. So that was what we were talking about when we was talking about doing this podcast, and that's one of the reasons why my hat's off to you for, being able to put this podcast out like this, and,
Right.
it's a great way to be able to get new music out, and I'd love to be able to pursue that. That's where I'm headed with this.
Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, we've got a lot of options, especially in this market here, and just trying to get going back to live entertainment and pushing it.
Well, that's you brought up payola, or somebody brought up payola.
I did, yeah.
And I know for a fact, when I first got back here in '86, there was a local producer company that was taking money up to, and I'm not gonna mention the names, and I'm not gonna mention the radio station, but that's how he got his stuff played, or of the group that he was promoting.
Oh, I can imagine.
And I mean, that's what I'm trying to see, because I've been playing a long time. I started playing piano when I was like 15.
It was earlier than that, David.
It was 15.
It was earlier than that.
It might, 14. Okay, because
You just ain't gonna deal
that's
with
a
him.
whole nother subject. But I mean, I started at 14. I'm 21 now.
It's 12.
So that's, you talking about 7 years.
It was 12.
Anyway.
Hey, you count like that. I see that.
Your hair been missing for 7
Yeah.
years, boy.
No.
I see that accounting
For
degree
7
coming in
years,
handy.
thanks. Yeah, that shit started falling out when I was
Yeah.
21.
That damn.
But
that
anyway,
damn
in
accounting.
all of the years that I've been playing, I've literally heard myself on the radio, my keyboard, one time. Once.
Wow.
But now my son, in contrast, he just did his first project and got it played
On the radio.
on the radio.
ZA.
I have a video of him because he was riding down the street and it came on the radio and it just blew him away.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
Oh,
I
yeah.
posted it.
Right, right.
And
Oh, yeah.
I said, boy, I said, dog, I've been playing all this time and you do one project and you're getting airplay, huh?
Mm-hmm.
But see, I have to think about that, man. And just like with this gentleman here, if you stop listening to the radio because you were hearing the same thing over and over again, think about what would draw you back in if there was a place you could go that you regularly could get original music from a variety of artists. You know, you're going to always have a rotation, but in that rotation, there's nothing in the world that would stop you from pushing in, you know, a new artist, and people will tell you whether or not they like it.
Right. Well, the thing about Clay, a person that has come to that level where, you know, I'm not listening because you have to target him now. You understand? You have to put together a marketing program to let him know, hey, you know, things have changed. We only allow an artist into our rotation for X amount of time, and then we replace them. Something like that. You know what I mean?
Well,
Which
let me
is not gonna happen.
ask you, Clay. How do you do this this internet, man? Are you a fan of that? Do you watch it a lot?
The cat said the internet. How do you do this internet? This damn
Well,
internet.
hey, man, I'm 70.
Well,
what do you want from me?
What? It's not called the internet?
No,
No,
man. They've changed it.
It's
you
the
know.
computer.
You know?
How do you do the computer thing?
Honestly, it's interesting because I've had music played, but it wasn't played here. It was played overseas. My music
Right.
that was played overseas.
Right.
But it's more podcasts, more streaming services, more of the DJs like that.
Right.
And so I've seen success that way. And I think that's where a lot of independent artists, because again, it takes a whole marketing campaign. You got to have marketing. You got to have money. If you're gonna, like they say, if you what they call it, breaking a record. If they're breaking a record, there's a lot of money behind it, and that means that you've paid to come to the top of the list for X amount of time, for X amount of days. There's different programs that you can pay for, but for like international, not even international, but for if you're trying to make it big here, I know it's one of those things where you got to have some money behind it, and it's just
Ungodly.
yeah. I've heard 50,000, and I could be lowballing it, but that was one of the things that somebody had pointed out to me. Like in order for them to break your record, for DJs to do that, you got to, and that's just in one market. You know, that might be Hot 97, that might be this, that, and the other, but you know, so that's where a lot of, I think, independent artists are now going over into the streaming side. To answer your question, they're going to, again, the sync licensing, where you can release a record on the internet via Spotify, Tidal, what's the other streamers, Pandora, and if it's linked to YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, you can pull up I could pull up my music right now on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and I can link a song to whatever photo I want to post. And so it's linked there. So a lot of artists are getting play or getting exposure, I should say, via that way, because a lot of artists aren't signing with major record companies. They don't have the budget. They don't have the budget. And if you do have the budget, again, pushes everybody else down, pushes this artist up for a limited amount of time. If they get hot, you know, then it's the next big thing. But then again, like you're saying, without a live show, without this, that, and the other, then that part of it goes away. You might be on the radio, but it's not.
Well, the whole point of radios playing records is to attract people so that they can sell advertising spots. That's how
That's
they
true.
that's how they make their money. So again, in the internet, to me, it's saturated.
Or the computer.
Well,
I mean, it's almost, it's,
So,
it's
okay,
saturated.
but
Everybody and their mama can put out music. You know what I mean?
Everything,
you don't even gotta know how to sing.
Everything that I have seen that has been new, whether I like it or not, has been on the internet. Everything
Yeah,
I've
that's
seen,
what I'm saying.
all of the new artists and stuff, and I mean,
Well, where else would you see it at?
that's
on TV?
that's my point. That's my point. That's my point. The internet, and it doesn't cost any money to go on the internet.
See, when you get home tonight, about 2 hours later,
Yeah.
you're gonna see. That damn Rizzo insulted me.
Oh, yeah,
This
he-
is what I'm talking
yeah,
about.
yeah, he
see
does
how
that,
he
you
snuck
know.
that in there. He just snuck that shit right in.
But you gotta love him anyway. You know what I'm saying?
I was like, well, she
That's-
I love this
the
dude.
damn
man.
internet.
That's an interesting.
He said, "Where else you gonna hear it?" Oh my god.
Well, I mean, to his point, because you think about it, MTV don't play music videos no more. Radio, like we were talking about.
The radio don't play videos.
Well,
There's
you go.
another one.
There's another one. See?
I was circling back to that.
I mean,
There's another
call it what you want. The radio don't play videos.
He wasn't gonna let you circle.
No, you won't let me circle back.
No, your whole statement has to be
Right.
together for
Yeah,
you.
there's no breaking shit with me. You don't put commas
You
and
gotta do it right the first
semicolons
time.
in. No, it's one straight flow with me and shit.
Right.
I'll let you get it out, but don't breathe.
But I mean, you can honestly upload directly from your phone straight to YouTube,
Correct.
and whatever video, whatever music that you have is already automatically uploaded within less than 30 seconds.
Right.
So, the new artists are bypassing all those traditional ways and they're going straight to the point. I think, what was that? Soulja Boy and somebody else kind of revolutionized a lot of that, bypassing the record labels and be creating a following. Because now even record companies now, they want you to have a following first.
That's what
That's
they look
right.
at.
So
That's right.
if you don't have no following, where you get your following from? It's not from Radioplay, it's from all your
YouTube,
likes,
yeah,
comments,
yeah.
this, that, and the
Performance.
other. Yeah.
Yeah, because this is like I was telling. I tell my brother too. I got a Facebook page, man, that I've been posting stuff on for the last 3 or 4 years. I have 4,800 people that, on a regular basis, will go to that Facebook page. I can take a piece of music, and if I say, hey, I got a piece of music, and here's where you go to find it, and you give them a link, 9 chances out of 10. Because
Yeah,
I
check
put a
it
little
out.
raggedy piece of music on there. I got almost 1,000 hits on it. You see what I'm saying? So it's personally myself for today's date, and to get a piece of music out or being able to put music out on a regular basis, man, the internet that's the way to go. There's nothing to beat that.
Oh yeah.
How can you beat free?
Right.
But that's why I say, I mean, I can't argue with that because there are a ton of success stories posting on the internet, but it's saturated. I mean, there's everybody who wants to do music. I don't care if you're just starting, if you have any talent whatsoever, they can put their music on there.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah,
And, a lot of people that are seriously hunting for music, you get discouraged sometimes. You know what I mean? So you turn back to those artists that you actually are familiar with, is what it comes down to. So, I mean, it's a point.
I think good music, like anything else that's good, if it is good, it's going to catch on. It's going to become popular. You're going to get some notice. Now, if it's average, mediocre, or ain't so good, it's just like, man, there are probably 10, 15, 20,000 people that show up on the internet every day. But there are those people that you will see regularly because they put out good content. I mean, that's how it's just like with upscale right now. I mean, you know, I don't believe you haven't been doing this that long.
No, I ain't been on the internet.
Okay, so you know, but isn't it growing?
It's growing.
Well,
damn it, it's growing.
yeah, okay. Hey, man, what else could you? What else can you ask for? And it ain't taxing your pocket.
No. And in all fairness, no. So I always recall back in the 90s when I was listening to the radio, and you may not like this song, but you hear that damn song 2-3 times a day, 4 times a day, you'd be like, you know what, that shit ain't that bad.
Right.
And this is how folks are winning. They got the content, they sharing it, they getting it out there, and folks are hearing and seeing it.
But you know what radio has over the internet? Is when people hear your music over the radio, they attach a certain star quality to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you understand, because it's not saturated. Well, he's on the radio, you know, they figure you're a star or you're this or you're that. You don't get that off the internet because it's like I said, it's saturated.
No, you're right. And just look at internet comics. You know, social media comics, if you will, whatever. I don't shout out to my man that be putting these folks on, but you know, the comics that are up and coming, and they've got a big following, 1 million followers, and all that. Sometime may be funny in person, sometime may not be, but they've got that backing. They've got that backing of the internet with all these followers and likes, which is driving them to
Yeah, I mean, and you know, you cannot argue with success.
No,
You know, you can't argue with it. I mean, 1 million. They even make money off the internet, but there's a consistency that goes along with it. You know, it's not they're not putting out just one thing and then you won't see them. They're doing this and they'll do it every day or every other day or every 3 days. You know, they have a regularity with they'll put new content out, and that's another thing that you have to be willing to do.
The algorithm. You got to catch the algorithm, and that in and of itself is a whole.
That's a whole nother
subject.
Yeah, that's
because I don't understand that at all.
I don't.
Well, join the club, me either.
I do not understand.
There are certain times, I can't even say basically, from my understanding, there are certain times of the day that you will get more social interaction when you post at certain times. It beats the algorithm. More people are going to see it because more people are either on their phones during those times. So Monday has a certain times where you should post like 7 in the morning to 9 in the morning. People are on their phone, 12 to 2, and then 6 to something else. Each day has a day in which you have more exposure.
So clearly they selling that shit. That's somebody. We don't know that, do we? They selling that.
You know it. That's valuable information.
That ain't nothing we gonna really just be able to.
Excuse me.
We can guess at it, but
Yeah, and that's what most people do until you catch the algorithm.
you catch the wave.
Right.
Well, and then the other thing, man, it's just like on the radio, it's localized. You know, you might get 2 or 3 cities out of a radio play. The internet, as far as I know anyway, is something that goes all over the world.
Right.
You know, you post something on the internet, and it ain't no telling who you're gonna get. Because I know I get people, you know, writing me from Nigeria. I got some people writing me from Europe. I know I've got some ladies that write from Germany.
Okay.
You know, so I mean, you get a very wide variety of ears and stuff. And again, like I said, all of the new music that I've heard it via the Facebook or one of the social media tools. I very, very rarely hear anything over the air that's new. Rarely.
Oh yeah, but there's a lot.
There's a gap.
Yeah.
There's
something you listening to because
Well, yeah, like I said, I'm a
Chris
contemporary
Rock,
jazz guy. I give you all
Chris
of that.
Brown, rather. You got Usher.
you got Lucky Day.
Lucky Day.
you
Yeah.
got,
Mooney. What's her name? Mooney.
Money Long.
Money Long.
You got her.
You know.
Moon.
Mooney. Money. I
Are they
don't know.
making these names up?
No.
They don't know.
You'll hear about them in 2060 and shit.
Right. They don't know none
No,
of them.
no,
He like, this some bullshit. Who ain't that kid money long?
Yeah, he talking about the barcade.
Yeah, that shit. I'm waiting on their new hit.
Right.
They all dead. Shit.
They ain't even on the earth no more.
Oh, God.
Be careful, right? You stick your foot in it real quick.
Right. I got to get on that computer, though. That computer thing, that internet thing.
INNANET, internet.
Internet. Right.
That's
Internet.
some bullshit. I don't know. They get on my nerves.
Oh my God.
When this shit going away? It ain't going- oh, that was funny shit. All right, well, hey, fellas, I think we done maxed out talking that trash about airplay and all that good stuff. So, hey, we're gonna go ahead and sign on to the next one here. Look for us, and we appreciate it. D Rizzo here once again. All our stuff is down here on the bottom, fellas. Go ahead and sign on out over there. HC.
Hareston Clay. You can find
Why
me
did
at
he laugh?
Hareston Clay, Hareston Clay Music on the internet.
Internet. Internet. I was thinking, what is he going to decide? Was he going to say something or not? The internet.
On the internet.
The computer.
On the computer.
Yeah,
you
on
can
the
find me
computer.
there. On Facebook, Hareston Clay Music, HARESTON CLAY.
Not Harrison.
No, not Harrison.
Okay. You probably only want to say your shit.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and tell them I'm Howard Rookard. I'm from the corner of Main and Howard down here. That's where they're gonna drop me back off as soon as this is over with.
Man,
That
this
shelter's
dude,
gone.
I'm still at the door.
always a cat with some crazy shit.
He talking about the hotel down
Yeah,
there.
yeah. What was that? That
You
was
mean
a,
that's
that
not
was a,
actually a hotel?
that was a
Nah,
strip
that's just-
club.
I've been knocking on that door
It's
for
a
the last
strip
6
club
months.
now.
What an insult, man.
Yeah, the brick building strip club.
Yeah.
Roach Motel.
What an
Yeah.
I
what
thought
you-
it was underground. I've been knocking on that door. Nobody
Yeah,
answered.
that's crazy. Rook, what you got, man? One time.
David Rookard, piano player, organ player, can be found at Rare Image, RAYRIMAGE.
Why is he closing his eyes? What the hell was that?
.com. Rare Image Band. Sorry about that.
He seemed like he was in a spelling bee trying to remember how to. What was all that, man?
What's that?
You closing your eyes and squinting?
Well, I got eyelids, man.
Okay.
They close. They go up and they come down, man. Like yours are right now.
He said, "Oh, whoa." Okay, you woo.
But yeah, okay. RareImageBand.com. You can reach
Thank you. I think so. All right, signing off, y'all. We had a good time talking about media and how to get on the computer and the internet,
in on that.
and on that, and all that kind of stuff, y'all. We out.